Hello everyone, today is 6th of June, now it's 11:30 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is first part of today's update in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second part will be published on my Patreon page. If you are interested, the link is under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And today's update, I will start with the informations from yesterday's press conference of the Russian President Vladimir Putin with journalists from friendly nations and also from hostile states. This press conference took place in St. Petersburg in Lahta Center. And the press conference itself, it was not necessarily type of press conference that we are used to. It was more like a conversation between the president and the representatives of the news agencies, media outlets of the world. It was 3 hours long, and I watched it entirely, and it was very interesting. Important topics were touched during this conversation, and if friendly nations were representatives, journalists from friendly nations were more focused on bilateral relations between Russia and these other states, journalists from the Western countries, hostile countries, for example, UK, Spain, France, US, Italy. Questions of those journalists were mainly focused on Ukraine, as if nothing else to talk about, really, in terms of bilateral relationships between their countries or otherwise. And, Russian president gave informative answers to those questions, and let's go through some of the aspects of this conversation. For example, Putin outlines Russian response to long-range strikes on Russian territory in internationally recognized borders. As we all know, number of NATO member states, Western states, authorized formally Kiev regime, in reality their own military personnel in Ukraine, to conduct strikes deep inside the Russian territory. And the Russian president answered on the question that Russia is considering asymmetric measures against Kiev's sponsors due to Ukraine's use of Western supplied weapons against Russia's territory. Vladimir Putin has stated during this press conference, Russian leaders' remarks came at a meeting with the heads of international news agencies on Wednesday on the sidelines of St. Petersburg's International Economical Forum. We have no illusions in this regard, Putin added, repeating his prior comments that Ukrainian troops might be pulling the trigger, but the US and its allies are providing the intelligence and the targeting information. Russia will respond by boosting air defense and destroying these missiles, Putin said. Secondly, if someone deems it possible to supply such weapons to their war zone to strike our territory, why should not we supply similar weapons to those regions of the world where those countries that are attacking Russia will be, and those missiles will be used against sensitive sites of those countries. The Russian president added, we can respond asymmetrically. We will give it our thoughts. So Putin basically said that Russian leadership is thinking about providing some long-range weapon systems, similar weapon systems, basically, to hostile, to the adversaries, let's say this way, of the NATO member states that are actively involved in targeting Russian territory. And this is, I mean, warning big time. This is clearly big warning, because we all know that US, UK, France, they are involved in they have assets worldwide, all around the world. First of all, especially US, and secondly, there are many areas where assets, including military assets of these countries, are engaged in some hostile activity with local groups, countries, and because of the actions of the Washington, London, Paris, those assets are clearly seen by Moscow, as far as I understand, according to statements, my interpretation of the statements of the Russian president. Those assets being seen as legit targets. So, well, that's gonna be one of the ways that Russia will respond. And well, those people that are decision making positions in the collective West should think twice before they will continue authorization of the strikes deep inside Russian territory, because they are jeopardizing safety and security of their own assets all around the world. This is a very strong warning. Also, by the way, of course, the Russian president was asked about Ukraine many times by Western journalists mainly, and one of the questions was why Russian side is not providing information about losses on Russian side, losses of the military personnel. And Putin said that, well, first of all, nobody ever provides information during the conflict. No country ever does this, or even if some information is available, usually that information is not necessarily correct one. Which is true, by the way. Which is true. Take a look at any conflict. Sides usually are providing information that is beneficial for this side or that side. And when it comes to losses, usually this information is classified for quite a while. Take a look at the information about US casualties during the Iraq war. Do you think you really know how many servicemen US lost during that conflict? I don't think so. I clearly don't know. And whatever information is available, you know, from open sources, is 100% is not accurate. There's no question even about that. But by the way, Russian president shared some very sensitive and important information that, according to him, Kiev regime forces losing about 50,000 military personnel monthly. Every single month, approximately, Kiev regime is losing about 50,000 military personnel. And even though enlistment offices in Ukraine are working in 24/7 regime to basically forcefully mobilize more and more people, overall number of these forcefully mobilized people are about 25,000-30,000. And therefore, even with this forceful mobilization, with total mobilization, Kiev regime is unable to cover losses that they have on a battlefield every single month, which definitely means that at some point shortages in the manpower will be in such a scale that Kiev regime forces just would not be able to maintain itself as a more or less battle capable entity, and we will most likely see gradual collapse of the Kiev regime forces and their defense lines. It seems logical. When it will happen, that's a whole different story, but it will happen. And also, by the way, Russian president shared information that we did not know previously in this detail. And the Russian president said that it is possible to share information about POWs And according to President's information, in Ukraine there are 1,348 Russian POWs, and in Russia there is 6,465 POWs, five times more. And Russian president said that casualties on the ground are, almost the difference in between casualties are almost similar. Kiev regime is losing 5 times more, if not more than that, at least 5 times more military personnel than a Russian side. And also, what is important, President said that Ukrainian side has a big issue when it comes to wounded personnel. Kiev regime is unable to conduct a proper treatment of its military personnel, and therefore wounded military personnel, and therefore rate between KIA and the wounded is almost 50-50, which is a catastrophic number. Usually according to statistics, according to some experts, for every KIA or killed in action, there is 3 to 5 POWs, 3 to 5 wounded military personnel in high intensity conflicts. But in Ukraine it's 1 to 1 almost, which is a really catastrophic number. So that's also another topic. While in Russian side situation is different, and sanitary losses, even though Russian side has 5 times less casualties, at least still vast majority of the wounded military personnel is treated and operatively, and their lives are safe, which is also a big part of the any military operation, to make sure that your wounded military personnel is receiving proper treatment, so that you have as low rate of KIAs, killed in action, as possible. So very interesting information was provided by Russian president. He spoke about many topics, by the way, many topics. This conversation lasted for 3 hours. I was watching entire this press conference until 3 or 4 o'clock at night, just to make sure that I know exactly what he said there. And question was about, as I said, bilateral relationships between Russia and Belarus, between Russia and Uzbekistan, between Russia and China, Afghanistan, and the president gave answers on all these topics. He once again reiterated that the recent visit to Uzbekistan was very successful, and Uzbekistan is clearly a strategic partner of the Russia. Same goes for Kazakhstan. Russian president issued, Russian president was very prized, basically. He prized leadership of the Kazakhstan for a strategic partnership, for high level of relationships between the two countries. That surprised me a little bit, because I'm not that happy with the leadership of Kazakhstan. I'm gonna say it. But president knows more. He has more information, and he has his reasoning to have such a high appreciation of the Kazakhstani leadership for politics of the Kazakhstan when it comes to these bilateral relationships. Of course, Russian president spoke about relationships with China, and the president said that many people in there maybe not paying attention, but Russian-Chinese relationships, partnership is not a situative cooperation. It's not something new, and two sides were building relationships, economical ties for at least last 15 years very actively, and as a result, at least last 2 decades, And as a result, last 15 years, China is a main trade partner to Russia. And these bilateral relationships will further improve or become more closer. And the Russian president mentioned that they will be increased not just in cooperation, not just in terms of economies, but also in military terms. There will be more exercises, which is oriented to increase overall security in the region. So yes, I mean, so many topics that President spoke about. When it comes to questions from the Western states, as I said, all these topics, by the way, all around Ukraine was asked by journalists from the West, as if there is nothing else to talk about, and the President gave definitive answers. Also, by the way, representative of Associated Press spoke about, asked about this U.S. journalist, Garshkovich is her name, and the Russian president said that secret services are in talks. Garshkovich was conducting some spy operation for U.S. secret services, and that's why he is detained. And secret services are in talks now, and Russia is, as far as I understand, Russia is not against to release Garshkovich, although same steps should be made from US, because I mean, of course, intelligence services are conducting operations constantly on territories of their other countries, and I guess there are some Russian spies in custody in US, possibly, and if sides will achieve agreement, Garshkovich will be exchanged on possibly Russian spy that is detained in US. Russia is clearly open, according to the president. Russia is open for talks in this regard. Also, by the way, Western journalists, of course, asked about nuclear weapons. It was Reuters, by the way, British news agency's representative, who asked Russian president about circumstances in which Russia might use nuclear weapons, and Russian president emphasized that it's not Russia, even though Western media constantly are talking about Russia is using this new topic of nuclear weapons as a kind of attempt to blackmail the West. Western politicians quite often are talking about this very stuff. In reality, it's Western journalists that are generating these talks about, and politicians that are generating talks on this subject. Then Russian President Putin highlighted that point. He said that it's you are asking me now about nukes. I did not say nothing about nukes. You are asking me now, and what should I do? Ignore your question, or should I give you answer? And whatever I will answer to you, you will then write. And Russian president was talking about in Western media, about Western media in general, I guess. And then the Western media will then write that, well, look, Russia is once again talking about nukes and stuff. So Putin straight away made it clear that it's you that asking this question. I don't want to talk about it. It's not my priority here. But anyways, Putin did give an answer, and he said that in Russian military doctrine, it is everything is quite clear. If Russian statehood is endangered, then and there are some additional points in Russian military strategy, that doctrine, that at certain circumstances Russia might use nuclear weapons, and Russian president said that he hopes that situation will not degrade to that level of to that scale, so that Moscow will start considering using nukes. He also even noted that or pointed out that, for example, only country who ever used nukes for now is the U.S. Of course, we all know that U.S. dropped nuclear weapons on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the Second World War on 2 Japanese cities, and Putin mentioned that those nukes, those atomic bombs, were about 20 kilotons, while Russian tactical nuclear warheads are 75 kilotons, about. I guess exact numbers are classified, but about 75 kilotons. I mean, incomparably more powerful than those bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And by highlighting this, Russian president basically once again reiterated himself that Russia don't want to go this path, and Russia hopes that it will not come to it, because nuclear weapons are not a joke. It's extremely powerful weapons, extremely devastating weapons. And if Russian tactical nukes are this powerful, can you imagine what can be done by strategical nukes? So yes, very interesting press conference, by the way, very interesting. If you want to read entirely what was said during this 3-hour-long conversation, I'm quite sure official website of the Kremlin probably for this moment already published her whole conversation, and you can have a readout there. And also, by the way, Japanese journalist was represented, and Japanese journalist spoke about situation around Kuril Islands and current quite upsetting relationships between the two countries, all because of the Japanese policies. And Russian president basically said that Moscow was open for negotiations with Japan to achieve to sign up peace treaty with Japan. Russia still don't have peace treaty with Japan, by the way, since the Second World War. And Japan is insisting that to sign peace treaty with Russia, these Kuril Islands, Shikotan, Shibomai, it's 4 islands, by the way. I can't remember all names of all 4 of them. Japan is demanding those 4 islands to be given back to Japan. Russia is against it, of course, and Moscow said that Russia was open for negotiations. During the Soviet era. There was even achievement between the two sides. When at the time, during the Soviet era, Moscow was even considering to give Japan 2 islands from 4, disputed. If sides will achieve agreement and will sign peace treaty, but then Japan refused to take that offer, and despite that, by the way, some time ago Russia was still ready to discuss that offer that was on the table since the Soviet Union, and Japan once again derailed the talks. And right now, and you could see it by Putin's reaction on this topic when he was speaking. Right now, Russia has no incentive to even consider any talks with Japanese side, and he also highlighted that it's not Russia that escalating in relationships. It's Japan, because Japanese journalists said that there was information that Putin is planning to visit these islands, disputed islands, and that will further deteriorate relationships between the sides. And the Russian president answered, you think you and the leadership of Japan thinks that my visit to my islands, to Russian islands, may jeopardize relationships? with Japan, while fact that Japan joined all the anti-Russian sanctions, all the anti-Russian hysteria of the collective West is not jeopardizing relationships or what? So Russian president was quite tough on this matter, and it seems like Moscow has no interests at this point, at least clearly, to even talk with the Japanese leadership, and I can understand why. Those morons, man, in charge of Japan right now, they are, first of all, they are morons and imbeciles, and secondly, they are puppets, dirty puppets of the Washington. So what is the point for Moscow to talk with the dirty fucking clowns? Puppet clowns, I mean, what is the point? It would be much effective if Moscow will talk about Russian-Japanese relationships with Washington, because Tokyo don't make any decisions. They are just the clowns, man, in the leadership of Japan. And this is my words, by the way. Russian president was, of course, respectful in his commentary, but I'm not Russian president. I don't give a fuck about Japan, man, and Japanese leadership at all. And if I regret that Stalin didn't talk more islands from Japan, as he should. If it was up to me, man, I will just neutralize Japan. There would be no Japan on the political map left. If it was up to me. That's how disgraceful Japanese politics were since the end of Cold War, since the end of even Second World War. As if it was Russia or Soviet Union aggressor, and not Japan that committed numerous crimes against humanity. You know, and they still, I mean, dare to talk about something? What the hell, man? Know your place, motherfuckers. Mass murderers, man. Sorry for emotions, by the way, but I'm sick and tired of this arrogance of the Japanese leadership, by the way. I have nothing against people, of course. I mean, whenever I talk about countries, I talk about political leadership, political so-called elites. Always, man. So, anyways, by the way, very interesting press conference. Very interesting press conference. I recommend, if you are interested in details, to go to the site of the Kremlin, and they will be in English, by the way, readout of the entire conversation there. And we have this information that, well, Japanese side is upset because of the statements of Russian president during the yesterday's this commentary. So they were of course listening. And well, who gives a damn about what Japanese leadership feels, man, or thinks? I mean, who are these clowns, man? That's my commentary on it. I don't give a damn about anything that Japanese leadership ever says, man, or will say. RIA Novosti's report, and same goes for all the other, for the leadership of all the other hostile countries, by the way. And who are they? Nobody's, man. RIA Novosti's report that according to, how long is this update, man? It's already 28 minutes. Holy moly, man. Okay, several updates, and from now on, I'm gonna make some little changes. I will track time and 35 minutes, and I will cut first part, and I will continue recording second part, which will be published on my Patreon, because I see many comments, by the way, in the comment section. I see I receive mails and recommendations to make these first parts, I mean, updates on YouTube and Rumble shorter. So I guess this is the only way to make it shorter, and I will just record as I always do, and when it's 35 minutes, I will stop. I will say goodbye to community on YouTube and Rumble, and I will continue with the news. I will continue recording update for and then publish that second part on the Patreon. That's the way. I don't know how else I can deal with this issue, and I do also understand that quite often updates are really long. Yesterday more than 1 hour, day before 1 hour, probably something like that was before that also. So yes, I can understand that many people want short updates. And it's already 30 minutes, so I give you at least headlines, by the way, and I will end this first part now. RIA Novosti's report that according to Russian partisans in Kherson region, local administration of the Kiev regime is burning down all the documents and evacuating from the city and from the region, which is quite interesting. I wonder why is this happening. Maybe Russian side is preparing to re-establish control over the western part of the Kherson region. Who knows? Maybe we will see some Russian landing operation in fairly short time on the right bank of the Dnieper River. That's possible. RT's report that Hungary urges immediate Ukraine peace talks. Peace talks must start right now to end the Ukraine conflict. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó told journalists on Thursday on the sidelines of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. Szijjártó is, of course, in St. Petersburg, by the way. He is participating in the work of this forum, Hungarian delegation. And who will disagree with? Who with the proper brains, proper understanding of the situation will disagree with Szijjártó, but unfortunately Western ruling class is not willing to talk about peace. Western ruling class wants further escalation. They want to achieve strategic defeat of Russia on the battlefield, which will never happen, but try and explain this to Western ruling class. I mean, they are just dumb as hell, man. Until Russia will smash their fucking faces, they wouldn't understand nothing. That's how it is, man. RIA Novosti is reporting that US in upcoming days will announce yet another package of the military aid for the Kiev regime. Exactly what I was talking about just now. That's what they do, man. They constantly escalate. That's it. And this new military aid package will be for about $225 million. Interfax is reporting that White House is upset with the Wall Street Journal because of the article in this media outlet about deteriorating mental health of the Biden. Well, though it's really necessary, Wall Street Journal to write about it, to realize that Biden is not there. I mean, come on, man. What is going on around Biden is abuse of elderly, really. And that's how the entire world probably sees this situation. Well, this news, by the way, and I will end the first part of the update on this, and I will continue rest of the news, by the way, as you can see, there's plenty of news left. In the second part on my Patreon page, and we have RIA Novosti's report here, according to which Defense Minister of Germany, Boris Pistorius, stated that Germany should get ready for a war with Russia before 2029. Okay, Germany. Russian president, by the way, during that press conference, noted that whoever is pushing this narrative in the collective West that Russia will attack NATO is extremely stupid. And I have to agree. Man. Russia is not a threat for NATO. Russia is not a threat for Germany. Everyone knows this. But for whatever reason, Western ruling class continues this propaganda that if not today, tomorrow or day after, Russia will attack, and we have to get ready and that kind of stuff. And okay, just get ready, just do it, man. Too much talk, really. Too much talk every single day. I mean, this country is getting ready for war, that country. Just, just deal with the issue, man. I mean, don't talk about it too much, because everyone is tired of you. In this particular case, I'm talking about Boris Pistorius, although his colleagues, by the way, are not any better among NATO member states. That's for sure. Majority of them. So yes, Germany is getting ready for war with Russia. That will never come. But for Pistorius and that caliber of the low-grade politicians, it's just like nuclear science, man. They will never understand nothing, so it's better even not to try. Probably just leave them alone and let them go crazy, full mode, with full speed, you know. So yes, this is it, by the way. This is it. A quite short update. Hopefully community will be happy with the length of this update. But sorry, dear friends, at some point I lose my cool. I use some unpleasant language at one point, and I don't really have time to pre-record this update once again. So it is what it is. I apologize for being emotional time to time. Hopefully you will find this video informative, interesting, useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. That's the only way we can influence algorithm somehow. And for very same reason, if you can, please share information about my channel or my videos with your friends in real life and on platforms, internet platforms that you are actively using. And dear friends, I know that on Facebook my channel is blocked, so you cannot even try. You would not be able to post link to my videos there. It's a Facebook, by the way. Some time ago, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I was quite active on Facebook, but I was blocked almost every other week there, and therefore I decided, you know what, I don't really care about this platform no more. And now I mean, it is what it is, man. And what else? Well, if you like this channel, by the way, if you like my work, you can support via PayPal or Boosty, or also by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care. And if you are a member of our Patreon community, I'll see you on the Patreon.